Hi, this is Sarah Perez, and I'm sitting with David Cohn of Spot Us. It's a crowd-sourced, crowd-funded journalism project. So welcome, David. Thanks for meeting with us.
Thank you.
Can you tell us what Spot Us is?
Sure. So Spot Us is a nonprofit startup, two strikes against us, and we're trying to pioneer what we call community-funded reporting, which is the act of distributing the cost of hiring a journalist across a lot of different people. So 50 people giving $10 or $15 each is enough to hire a journalist to then look into, your city hall, your kid's school district, or whatever issue those 50 people want reported on.
What are some examples of projects that people have paid for?
Sure. Well, we're based here in the Bay Area, so we've done everything from an investigation into the Oakland Police Department or poverty issues in San Francisco, or even the city of Alameda's city budget. So it's spanned the gamut, and it's concerned citizens who want to know what's happening to the budget in Alameda, and then they all chip in a little bit, and we hire a reporter to then go in and go through the records and see what's happening with the city budget.
Great. When did you start this?
We officially launched in November, so it's been about 5 months, and we've funded 19 stories now, and we are close to funding another 2. And of those, 9 have been published, and the other 10 are being reported right now. The Oakland Police Department one is being reported. The poverty issues in San Francisco is also being reported and close to being wrapped up.
So the journalists are actually getting paid by the community to look into these stories.
Yes.
Is it equivalent to what they would have made at, let's say, a newspaper?
That's a good question. It's probably, in all honesty, it's probably a little bit below what they may have been making at a traditional news organization. It's definitely not a salary. It's sort of, these are freelancers, they're one-off stories. But it's definitely more than, it allows them to go deeper into a story. So for something like the Oakland Police Department, this is a story that takes a long time to really go into. And so this is something that can help subsidize them while they're doing their research and reporting. Probably undervalued, but we think it's important that journalists get some money so that they can really dive deep and go long form into certain subjects.
And after they have the results of their journalism, where is that published?
That's where it gets really exciting. There's one of 2 options. The first thing is that we try and sell the first publishing rights. So if we sell the first publishing rights, any money we make goes back to the original donors. We've done this twice now, where someone gave $10, we sold the story, and then that person got $10 back to then reinvest in another story. If we aren't able to sell first publishing rights, then we release it under Creative Commons, which means anybody can republish it. And it can be republished in anything from local blogs, Huffington Post, or we'll give it away to a news organization to publish in their newspaper.
And so those Creative Commons stories, are they hosted on your site?
They're also hosted on our site. So if we sell first publishing rights, we'll just link to wherever it's published. And if it's Creative Commons, then it'll be published on our site and other people's sites as well, and we'll also link to whoever republished it.
Have you already sold the first publishing rights to some of the stories that have come?
We have. We've sold the first publishing rights to 2 stories. One was sold to On Earth magazine. It was an environmental story about solar technology being affordable for homeowners. And the other one was actually about the San Francisco sex industry and how it's being hit by the recession. And we sold the first publishing rights to that to Boulevards, which owns Metro Papers here in San Francisco. And those are going to be published on those sites, and we're going to link to them and send the readers there. And the readers got their money back and can reinvest in a second story.
Did they?
Some of them are holding their credits on the site, and a lot of them have already resubmitted and found another story that they wanted to see happen and put their $10 or $20 towards that. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. What are some stories that we can look for in the future that are being worked on right now?
Sure. One is actually with the Oakland Tribune. It's about potholes in Oakland. Oakland has a crumbling infrastructure in a lot of different ways, including the streets. It has the repaving is really slow. So we also want to, so we're funding for a reporter who's going to go out and find out exactly why it's so slow. And we also want to have people contribute. We're going to try and organize like a bike event where we go out and search for all the potholes and then map that out as well. So people can participate by donating money or donating time to help the reporting.
So the community is actually becoming part of the journalism process.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. It goes from story to story. The Oakland Police Department is headed by a single reporter because it requires building relationships with different sources, and it's a touchy issue. But something like the potholes, People can participate by telling us their story, their incident with a pothole. I just heard a story of someone who, on a bike, fell on a pothole and broke their arm and is now suing the city. So if they have personal stories, they can contribute that, or they can contribute money so that we can hire a reporter to then go ask questions to the people that need to be asked questions about whether it's potholes or poverty or whatever.
Great. So why did you decide to start this venture? What is your background? Why did this interest you?
Sure. My background, I was a tech reporter, actually. I used to write for Wired. And, I think the reason why I started this is it's not breaking news now to say, traditional news organizations, newspapers are in trouble. And I think there always will be large national investigations. CNN, New York Times, Washington Post aren't going anywhere. But what we really stand to lose, especially this year, is local journalism, local investigative reporting, whether it be in Seattle or San Francisco or Los Angeles or Chicago or wherever. Newspapers did play a really important role in our local democracies, and I think we still need that. Even if the marketplace says that we don't need newspapers, we still need journalism. And so I really want to try and figure out, whether it's Spot Us or another model, how journalism can survive even if the institutions themselves fail.
And what do you think, is this the future of journalism, this sort of crowd-funded model?
I think it's part of the future.
Okay.
I never try and sell Spot Us as a silver bullet, because there's no such thing as a silver bullet. But, I think a combination of things will need to come about, including crowdfunding, what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to see a lot more nonprofit journalism. I think we need to figure out ad networks and also distributed reporting, where we can do stories that rely on a lot of different people donating time as opposed to just money. So I think the future of journalism is going to be strong. It's going to look radically different from what we're used to. And so we need to figure out how we can embrace that radical change and ensure that it still performs the same checks and balances to our government that it traditionally did. I think that's possible, but we're not sure what it looks like, so we really need to try and experiment and figure out how that happens.
Great. And how does Spot Us make money for itself, to keep itself in business?
Sure. Well, we're a nonprofit, but to start, we have a grant from the Knight Foundation. What our goal for sustainability is to expand to other regions. So right now we're just in the Bay Area, but we want to expand to Los Angeles or Seattle or different cities. And when people donate, if they donate $20, for example, they are encouraged but not required to give an extra $2 to the organization. I actually stole this straight from kiva.org, which is wildly successful in microfunding people in third world countries. So the idea is that it's very transparent where your money goes. Your money is going to this specific journalism project, and optionally you'll see, will you donate $2 to the organization? You can remove that, but what I find is that 80 to 90% of the people will go ahead and give the extra $2 to the organization. And as a nonprofit, we have a low overhead, so I hope that if we are in enough cities and we have the same sort of flow through, then we'll be sustainable.
Do you have any plans to expand this outside of the area that it's in now, across the country, or anything like that?
Right now we're in a little bit of the proof of concept stage still, although I think we're leaving that slowly because it's been 5 months or 20 weeks, and we've actually funded about 19 stories. So soon we want to expand again to other networks. I mean, you can almost picture it like Craigslist, right? Mm-hmm. You go to your local Craigslist. And so we do want to be in different cities. And it's also, the code is, I should say, it's open source. And recently I saw a test site in Japan. So someone is starting completely separate from Spot Us. It looks just like Spot Us because it's our code. And so I would say any other entrepreneurs out there who want to take the code can do so and start their own version of it in anywhere. And
how do you determine which journalists get the stories, and can anyone be a quote journalist, or do they need to have credentials, or how does that work?
So I'm a big believer, they definitely don't need credentials, because who am I to credentialize? What I'd say is we do have a filter, which is anybody can create a pitch, and then we will obviously look at pitches. We're only doing civic journalism. Again, we're a nonprofit, so we have a mission. It has to be about education or the environment or politics, something like that. But we're not looking necessarily for people that have 20 years experience. The journalists on our site right now span the gamut, from 20-year veterans to recent J school graduates to people who have been blogging about a topic for a long time and have an expertise in a topic. And so while they might not be big J journalists, You can look at their blog and get a sense of who they are and what they do. And every pitch, we actually ask that the reporter have a video of themselves, so you get a sense of who they are, and fill out a profile so you can see, what else they've done.
I think that about wraps it up. We really appreciate you sitting and telling us about your project, and we hope it really goes well. We hope journalism will survive the death of the institution. Who said that?
Lisa Williams, great quote.
What's the whole quote?
The whole quote is, journalism will survive the death of its institutions.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's a big part of what drives me, is figuring out, well, what does that look like? A woman named Lisa Williams said it, and just to give her credit, because she deserves it, is one of the more profound things I've heard. Journalism will survive the death of its institutions. Spot Us is trying to figure out, how. And I think there are a lot of other startups trying to figure out how. And it's important that we do.
Great. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.